Chapter 6, Practicing. Another letter from Junie. Wednesday. Dear first grade journal, last night Daddy helped me practice my juggling. I kept on throwing those lemons into the air and they kept on crashing into my floor. Finally, I got frustration in me and I threw them as high as I could. The first one cracked my ceiling light. The next one fell on my bed and cracked out my Raggedy Andy named Larry. And it's knocked out. And knocked out my Raggedy Andy named Larry. Lemons are not as easy as they look. Friday is only 2 more days away. I'm getting stress in me. From Junie B, first grader. As soon as I finished writing, Mr. Scary walked to the front of the room and he asked us to put away our journals. Boys and girls, there are a few more things I need to tell you about the kickball tournament on Friday, he said. For one thing, today and tomorrow, we'll be taking extra long recess periods to get ready. He looked around the class. Those of you playing on the team will be practicing on the softball field, and those of you who are cheerleaders will be practicing on the sidelines, he told us. Camille and Chenille jumped right up from their seats. Mr. Scary, Mr. Scary! We have good news, said Camille. Yes, we do, said Chenille. Our mother was a cheerleader in college, and last night she taught us some cheers. Right, said Camille. And so today Chenille and I can teach them to other girls. Mr. Scary smiled, very pleased. That's excellent news, girls, he said. I'll put you two in charge of teaching the cheers. Then I will have more time to work with the kickball team and the halftime show. He looked back in my direction. Oh, and speaking of halftime show, have you made a decision about what you want to do, Junie B? I started to nod real happy. Then all of a sudden I stopped on account of what if I told room 1 that I was going to juggle in the halftime show, only I still couldn't learn that talent by Friday. Then some of the children might shout boo at me, plus others might laugh and laugh. I tapped on my desk, very thinking. But on the other hand, maybe I should tell my class the whole entire truth, because Mother says the truth is always best. Only that is not the truth, of course. But maybe this one time the truth might be the easiest. Sorry, I got what she meant by that. Junie B, said my teacher again. I stood up at my desk and I looked at room 1 in their eyes. Okay, here's the whole entire truth, I said. I am trying to learn how to juggle for Sheldon's halftime show. Only please do not get your hopes up, people, because I might not learn it in time. And so if I don't juggle at halftime, there is no laughing or booing allowed. And I mean it. I quick sat back down again. Lenny and Herb turned around in their seats. Whoa, you're learning to juggle, said Lenny. That's cool. Yeah, it is cool, said Herbert. I wish I could juggle. May rolled her eyes. I don't, she said. What's so fun about throwing stuff in the air? And anyway, juggling is only for the circus. Who ever heard of juggling at a halftime show? I wriggled my eyebrows, very serious. That's a good question, May. Let me think, I said. Then I leaned real close to her face. Me. That's who. I said. Lenny and Herb laughed very hard. Then Sheldon looked at me and he gave me a happy thumbs up. I smiled. Because what do you know? This time the truth worked beautifully. Chapter 7. Fun with me and Sheldon. At recess, Mr. Scary got the kickball team started on their practice. Then he came over to Sheldon and me, and he helped us with our halftime show. First, he gave me a wood block from the music teacher's room. Plus, also, he gave me a drumstick. If you hit this wood block while you march, you and Sheldon will be able to stay in step, he explained. I smiled, very thrilled, because hitting stuff is right up my alley. I whacked that thing with my drumstick. Then Sheldon crashed his cymbals together, and that was beautiful music. After that, Mr. Scary told us to form a line behind him. And then all 3 of us marched around and around the playground. And guess what? My woodblock kept us in step, very perfect. After a while, we marched over to the microphone. It was on a stand in the grass. This is where you're going to sing, Sheldon, Mr. Scary said. When you sing into the microphone, the whole audience will be able to hear you. Mr. Scary smiled. We won't turn it on yet, but you can still practice your song, okay? Okay, Sheldon said, real thrilled. Then he stood up straight and tall, and he walked back to the microphone, and he started to sing, Hark, Herald, the angel sings. Oh no. He played the cymbals while he sang. It was very lovely, sort of, but Mr. Scary's face did not look delighted. He held up his hand. Oh, could you hold it a second there, Sheldon? He called out. Could you stop singing for a minute, please? Sheldon stopped. Mr. Scary walked over to the microphone. Okay, well, that's a very nice Christmas carol, Sheldon, he said, and you were singing it beautifully. But the trouble is, it isn't really Christmas, is it? So I'm wondering if maybe you know a different song. Sheldon thought for a minute. How about I have a little dreidel? He asked. I know that one. Mr. Scary ran his fingers through his tired hair. Yes, well, that's sort of the same problem, isn't it? He said. It's not really Hanukkah either. Mr. Scary bent down next to him. Do you know any songs besides holiday songs? He said. Or is there some other talent you have, Sheldon? Like, can you whistle maybe, or do a magic trick? Sheldon thought some more. I can blow milk bubbles out of my nose, he said, but that mostly only happens when I'm choking. Mr. Scary started rubbing the sides of his head. He was getting another headache in there, I think. Then all of a sudden, Sheldon's whole face lighted up. Hey, wait! I just thought of another song I could sing, he said. Happy birthday, Mr. Scary. I know all the words to Happy Birthday, and that isn't even a holiday song. Our teacher stood there a second. Then he nodded his head, and he said, Happy Birthday would be just dandy. Sheldon started his performance all over again. He sang the song and played the cymbals very good. After he got done, he did a somersault. I do not know why. Okay. Then hooray, it was finally time for me. I quick put down my woodblock. Then I reached into my pocket and I took out my pretend lemons and I started to pretend I was juggling. Juggling for pretend is way easier than juggling for real. I skipped and trolled and danced. Mr. Scary and Sheldon clapped and clapped. I did a bow. Then I picked up my woodblock again and I hit it with my stick. And me and Sheldon marched off the field. We jumped all around and did a high five. Then Sheldon picked me up and tried to twirl me around, only he wasn't actually strong enough, and so mostly I just dragged on my toes. His face turned reddish and sweaty. He put me down and wiped his head with his sleeve. Whew, you weigh a ton, girl, he said. I like that odd boy. I really, really do. Odd boys. All right, that is the end of chapter 7. We'll go ahead and continue with chapter 8 next.